What is up, everybody? Welcome to another 777. I got my co-host Nick here. We are going over Crowley's Qabalah, and I want to welcome any new Rumble followers. I'm now streaming to Rumble, so if you're over there, definitely come on by, give me a sub, check me out. We're going to be doing a lot more content from there, so thank you very much for stopping by. Welcome, 8 Young Stitches 8. You're always there, and I notice you.
Yeah, actually, I sent him out a T-shirt today.
Nice.
I asked him for the information a couple of days ago last week. Sorry there, sir, but I sent it out today. But yeah, that guy's he's in every chat. He's always promoting this shit. I was like, yo, I gotta hook you up, my man. So I sent him a T-shirt and some stickers.
Awesome. So we're back on it. It's been a couple of weeks now of sort of bumpy.
Well, I got sick, and then I scheduled Library of the Untold and totally realized I fucked off the book, and so we're fine.
And then I fell asleep during Library of the Untold, which.
Oh yeah, that's right. You weren't even there for that.
I know.
Totally forgot. Yeah. So I guess it wasn't supposed to happen that week, regardless.
I missed it. I got to go back and watch. Library of the Untold is one of my favorite follows on YouTube. That guy is like really in sync with my cosmology. So if you guys don't know that guy, check him out. Go follow and sub him. He's got a lot of information that I like to talk about a lot. So
yeah. I think one of his last videos, he's wearing our shirt too on it.
Right. That's great.
Yeah. Oh, but, just a reminder for everybody too. Going forward after this, I'm just gonna have Headless stream this out to his YouTube. So if you want to catch this live, you're gonna have to start going over to his YouTube. I want to help him grow his shit. So I'm not streaming it out on my end anymore after this.
All right. Yeah. And it'll give a nice big archive. So if you want to find all of the episodes that we've done about this stuff, if you hear something that we talk about that rings true, go back and we'll tell you the page number. We'll tell you all the stuff that we're sort of talking about with it so that you can kind of get your head around it. Because I think the main purpose of why we're doing this is so that people can get their head around the Qabalah and stop sort of bullshitting about what it is. Here it is. This is Crowley's Qabalah. We don't need to bullshit about it. You just have to know what this is and what it means and what the implications are. But if you don't have that, you just sound like a crazy person ranting about stuff you don't understand. So that's why we're reading through it.
Well, in the occult world, I don't think it's too bad, but I'm just going to keep it real, and I'm not trying to be nasty or anything. But when it comes to conspiracy theory world, I mean, when it comes to the Qabalah, that, I mean, in my opinion, is completely fucking off. Everybody thinks it's like automatically some like Jewish demon shit. It's like, really?
Right.
I don't
know. The real problem
if you're into the Qabalah, you're automatically doing fucking horrible shit. It's like, really? Like, I study the Qabalah and I don't rape kids. Like, what the fuck?
Exactly. So what we're trying to get to is the understanding of cosmology. This is a different form of cosmology than you're used to. We're talking about numbers as being the basic building block for everything else. That's what they believe in Qabalah. That's what they believe with the ancient Greeks when it comes to Pythagoras. Numbers are the basic building blocks, and this is what they've built off of it. So unless you're really willing to get into this number stuff and this gematria stuff, you're not going to understand the Qabalah in the way that they've produced it. It's not just the tree, it's everything. That's what they're trying to get to, is this is the explanation for everything.
Yes.
And here we are on page, oh man, where is it? All right. This it says it's page 13, but in the PDF, it is page 29. So if you're following along with the PDF, that's where we're at. So let's see, where did we stop off? Advanced students?
Yes, yeah, yep. I left off on the smaller one. I think you were going to read that, and then Prometheus Lens popped up in the chat. We realized you were late.
Oh, yeah.
Show. You remember that? Yeah. It was like
I do remember that.
I was like,
that was a great episode too. If I can find it, I'll share that one out as well. But let's get it going here. Advanced students should then go to the fountainhead Nor von Rosenroth's Qabalah Denduda for a study themselves. It should not prove easy. Frater P, after years of study, confessed, I cannot get much out of Rosenroth. And we may have, now Frater P, that's Carly's name inside of the lodge, right? The lodge name? Peradurbo or something.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'd have to look at it to say it right, but yeah, that's one of Crowley's many alter egos. Perdurabo.
Yeah, Perturabo. There you go.
Or Robbo the Beast, this and that. Oh, then he
Right.
also thought he was John D reincarnated too, or some shit.
Right. I could actually buy into that John D one because he seemed, kind of like a much more uninhibited John D. So let's see. We may add that the only best minds are likely to obtain more than an academic knowledge of a system which we suspect Rosenroth himself never understood in any deeper sense. As a book of reference to the hierarchical correspondences of the Qabbalah, of course, 777 stands alone and unrivaled. The graphic Qabbalah has been already fully illustrated in this treatise. See illustrations, blah, 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 blah. Lots of illustrations. By far the best and most account of the method of Qabbalah is that by an unknown author, which Mr. Aleister Crowley has printed at the end of the first volume of his collected works, which we here reprint in full.
Very nice. Do you want me
Qabbalah Dogma. Oh, go ahead.
All right, sure. All right. The evolution of things is thus described by the Kabbalists. First is nothing, or the absence of things, which does not exist and cannot mean negatively existing, if such an idea can be said to mean anything. As S. Lytle McGregor Mathers, who misread the text and stultified the commentary by the light of his own ignorance of Hebrew and philosophy, pretends in his translation of Rosenroth. I don't really know what that meant, what he just said right there. Second is without limit, infinite space. Now I'm assuming what he's talking about is the Sephiroth, in my opinion. Yeah, okay, just let people know.
Ein Sof and the Ein Sof hour. I think that's what he's talking about.
Oh, yeah. Second is without limit space, infinite space. This is the primal dualism of infinity. The infinitely small and the infinitely great. The clash of these produces a finite positive idea, which happens to. Sorry, I'm trying to look. I wanted to skip all that shit. I'll just read it. All right. Yeah, idea which happens. See in the Sword of Song for a more careful study, though I must not be understood to endorse every word in our poet philosopher's thesis. Sorry, this shit's like screwing me up. The clash of these produces a finite positive idea which happens to be light. This word is most important. It symbolizes the universe immediately after chaos, the confusion or clash of the infinite opposites. I don't know what word that is the whatever letter this is the egg of matter, and that is 8, the bull or energy motion. And whatever letter that is the sun or organized and moving system of orbs. These 3 letters of, you know what letters those are? Fuck.
I don't, but I've got up on the screen the exact. You remember doing the book review with Jules?
Mm-hmm.
They're using the exact same symbol from this book that was by the Martinists as they are for the Qabbalah, right? So he says right there, Aleph is the egg of matter.
Oh, that is Aleph, right? Yeah, then it's Ain. That's what I think that is actually.
Ain is the Taurus, the bull, the energy motion, and that is the sun. So, in essence, what they're saying is that they're kind of in the same galaxy or in the same ballpark as the Martinists and all the rest of the Freemasons. It's all sort of based here in the Qabbalah. If you want to know about their cosmology, here it is. So that's the Taurus bull, or this sort of linkage. Also, John D. If we're going to talk about John D. in his, oh man, I'm blanking out on the title of his book. But the one with the figure of Hermes as like the ultimate figure of the universe, where Hermes has the bull head, the Taurus head. It's what's it called? Something. Heptarchia? No, it's let me find it real quick. It's his book about all of the figures.
You want me to keep reading until you find it?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that word is Ain. Where did I leave it? Fuck. The three letters of Ain thus repeat the three ideas. The nature of Ain is thus analyzed under the figure of the 10 numbers and the 22 letters, which together compose what the Rosicrucians have diagrammatized under the name of Minutum Mundum. It will be noticed that every number and letter has its correspondence in ideas of every sort, so that any given object can be analyzed in terms of 32. If I see a blue star, I should regard it as a manifestation of Chesed, water, the moon, salt, the alchemical principle, Sagittarius, or whatnot. In respect of its blueness, one would have to decide which from other data and refer it to the 27th key of the tarot in respect of its starriness. The use of these attributions is lengthy and various. I cannot dwell upon it, but I will give one example. If I wish to visit the sphere of Qabala, I use the colors and forces appropriate. I go there. If the objects which then appear to my spiritual vision are harmonious therein with, it is one test of their truth. So also, to construct a talisman or to invoke a spirit, the methods of discovering dogma from sacred words are also numerous and important. I may mention the doctrine of sympathies drawn from the total numeration of the word, when identical with, or a multiple or submultiple of, or a metathesis of that of another word. Fucking understand what this guy's saying. Just totally honestly. The method of finding the least number of a word by adding and re-adding the digits of its total number and taking the corresponding key of the tarot as a key to the meaning of the word. The method of analogies drawn from the shape of the letters. The method of deductions drawn from the meanings and correspondences of the letters. The methods of our acrostics. The method of acrostics drawn from the letters. This mode is only valid for adepts of the highest grades and then under quite exceptional and rare conditions.
So all that army stuff where they turn everything into acrostic, that is the job of the highest adepts of the orders. That's fucking funny.
Interesting, right?
Because, you know, everything in the military or the government, they all have these acrostics, all these different letters that represent other things. And so what he's saying is that if that is a method for their, magical workings, that would be the highest initiates are putting together those letters in that governmental basis. That's crazy.
Is that the same thing of like when we were talking about Qabalah before? Or no, is that different? You know how like that it's like one letter for each
Very
word?
similar. Right.
Yeah.
The first letter from each word, this is how they're doing their formulations on more complex magical workings, you know.
That'd be like CIA and FBI. Would those be considered?
Yep. There you go. Those would be acrostics as well. But you know, if that's what they're doing, they're trying to formulate based off of these interactions that they've had, which would create these, you know, very meaningful letter combinations that stick in your brain and make people fear it and stuff. I mean, if you think about it, it makes sense. You give them just 3-letter names, and then everybody that ascribes to that 3-letter name becomes a part of that institution on a spiritual level.
I'm going to read this last, was this F or something here, and then I'll let you take over.
Yep.
The method of transpositions and transmutations of the letters, which suggest analogies, even when they fail to explain in direct fashion. All right, there you go.
All of these and their various combinations with some other more obtruse or less important methods may be used to unlock the secret of a word. Of course, with the power so wide, it is easy for a partisan to find his favorite meaning in any word. Even the formal proof of 0 equals 1 equals 2 equals 3 equals 4 equals 5 equals ... n is possible. But the adept who has worked out this theorem with the very intent to discredit the Kabbalistic mode of research was suddenly dumbfounded by the fact that he actually stumbled upon the Kabbalistic proof of pantheism or monism. What really happens is that the adept sits down and performs many useless tricks with the figures without result. Suddenly, the dawns and the problem is solved. The rationalist explains this by inspiration, the superstitious man by mathematics. That's interesting how he has that sort of inversion there. So the rationalist would turn to inspiration and the superstitious would turn to science. I give an example of the way in which one works. Let us take IAO, one of the barbarous names of evocation. This is all over the Greek magical papyri too. So the IAO formula is all over there. They're always making these sounds using IAO as the base.
Yeah, that's the one that's used in the hexagram ritual too. IAO.
Right? Of which those who have wished to conceal their own glory by adopting the authority of Zarathustra have said that in the holy ceremonies it has an ineffable power. But what kind of power? By the Qabbalah, we can find out the force of the name IAO. We can spell it in Hebrew, Ain, Aleph, Yod, or Sadi. No, it's not Sadi. Something, Aleph, and then whatever that one is. The Qabbalah will then even tell us which is the true way. Let us, however, suppose that it is spelled that way. This adds up to 17. 17. But first of all, it strikes us that I, A, and O are the three letters associated with the letters blah blah of the great name of 6 letters, which this would be the Yod Hey Vav Hey letters Hey in the 6-letter name, which would be Yeshua, which combines Yod Hey. No, that's not a Vav. That's another Hey. Hey, Ein, Hey, Aleph, and Hey, Ein, or Hey, Yod. Macroposiphos and microposiphos. Now these feminine letters, Hey, conceal the 3 mothers of the alphabet, Aleph, Dalet, and Shin. Replace these letters and we get blah, 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 which adds up to 358, which the number alike, Shin, Hey, and that's the L, I believe, the serpent of Genesis and Messiah. Oh, well, he's letting all the beans out of the bag there. The serpent in Genesis is Jesus, and they've come to that through Kabbalistic means. So he's just kind of like dropping that on the table. Oops, we just put it out there. We thus look for redeeming power in IAO for the masculine aspect of that power. Now we see how that power works. We have a curious dictionary, which has made by very learned men, in which the numbers 1 through 10,000 fill the left-hand column in order, and opposite them are written all the sacred or important words which add up to each number. You want to take it there?
Sure. Back to the book. Add up to we take this book and look. That's correct, right? We take this book.
Yes,
and
you are right.
We take this book and look at 17. We find that 17 is the number of squares in the swastika, which is the whirling disc or thunderbolt. Also, there is, I don't know, is that ein, a circle or orbit, to seethe or boil, and some other words which we neglect in this example, though we should not dare to do so if we were really trying to find out a thing. Trying to find out a thing none of us knew.
Now there's a lot of capitalizations in this that
Yeah,
are
I
not
think it's
explained.
capitalized too. Yeah.
Right. So example and thing should not be capitalized, and yet they are. There's a couple more on the other page. If you're looking for a code to decode, here it is. Look for all of the improperly capitalized words and then plug that into something, because he's trying to say something else.
Yeah, that is again another thing that is in the vision and the voice notes. He's specifically telling his editor that these letters need to be left like that. So he's purposely capitalizing letters for a reason. There's tons of gematria even in his notes to show you that this guy is ciphering shit. So
Right.
again, not trying to like promote the dude. It's just that there's a lot. I mean, whatever you're reading by him, you can't take it at face value. That's just my opinion.
Right. And if the audience knows about Special Agent 666, this is a highly valued skill. If you can take all of this knowledge and then put it into a code or something like that, that is just improperly capitalized letters in a book all about gematria, then you've got a power that a lot of people don't have. So this would make them very attractive to the deep state for their ability to create ciphers out of basically nothing. So
Yo, I've actually wondered, and I'm sure that isn't the case, at least not with intelligence, but I've even wondered, like, yo, is there any like, has he ciphered like his own intelligence shit into his own work? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you knew a cipher, could you go through his shit and you'd actually see his intelligence? Like, it's stuff like him telling his, kind of telling on his intelligence, whatever he was doing then. You know what I'm saying? Or was there messages being relayed there?
Right. And if you think about how these occultists would pass on their legacy to the next person, like Crowley was supposed to pass on his legacy to one person and then ended up in this squabble between two of them and didn't end up giving his full blessing to a successor. I think this goes into a lot of this stuff too. If you're not actually decoding all of the stuff that he's written, he's not going to choose you as a successor, right? So you've got to be able to figure out what he's really saying before he could pass on his legacy to you. And I don't think anybody did that to him, They were all just sort of like, well, I've read the surface level shit, but, were they actually listening to what he was really saying?
Yep. Let me go back to the PDFs. Came off the screen to look at you. Oh, shit. Where did I just leave that off?
We also work in another way.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. We also work in another way. I is the straight line or central pillar. I think that's an I, right? Yeah. Is the straight line or central pillar of the temple of life. Also, it stands for unity and for the generative force. A is the pentagram, which means the will of man working redemption. O is the circle from which everything came, also nothingness, and the female who absorbs the male. That makes sense. The egg and the sperm.
Right.
The progress. Yep, the poles and holes. There we go. Back to Io again. The progress of the name shows then the way from life to nirvana by means of the will, and is a hieroglyph of the great work. Look at all our meanings. Everyone shows that the name, if it has any power at all, and that we must try, has the power to redeem us from the love of life, which is the cause of life, by its masculine whirlings, and to gladden us, to bring us to the bosom of the great mother, death. Told you. Right. Before what is known as the equinox of the gods, a little while ago, there was an initiated formula which expressed these ideas to the wise. As these formulas are done with, it is of no consequence. It is of no consequence if I reveal them. Truth is not eternal any more than God, and it would be but a poor God that could not and did not alter his ways at his pleasure. This formula was used to open the vault of the mystic mountain of Abigenus. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Within which lay, so the ceremony of initiation supposed, the body of our father Christian Rosencreutz, to be discovered by the brethren with the postulant as said in the book called Fama Fraternitatis, which that is a supposed Rosicrucian book. I've even said myself, because of how many times Crowley goes on about Rose, I do wonder, and I just have other ideas, if this is not a DOTO, maybe the OTO. I think there's some Rosicrucian flair within his work. I'll just put it that way.
Oh, no doubt.
I wonder if the OTO was an actual Rosicrucian order.
Well, like I was just showing you from that other book, that's the basis of Rosicrucianism too. So Martinism is at the heart of both Rosicrucianism and all this OTO stuff and Voodoo and Mormonism. So this book back in the 1700s called the Treatise on the Reintegration of Being is an unmentioned influence on stuff like Crowley 777 and pretty much anything that mentions Christian Rosicrucians, because they were sort of carrying on the tradition there. And we can see that coming into Pennsylvania in Beverly Hall. It's the very same book that sort of inspired all that. So the treatise on the integration of being is a really valuable fundamental source that I think a lot of people just overlook. You want me to pick it up there?
Oh no, I'll finish off the, I guess, the just doing this thing here, and then after the sign of Osiris Lane, I'll let you take over. There are 3 officers, and they repeat the analysis of the word as follows: Chief, let us analyze the keyword I. Second, N. Third, R. All, I. Chief, Yod. Second, Nun. Third, Resh. All, Yod. Chief, Virgo, Isis, Mighty Mother. Second, Scorpio, Apophis, Destroyer. Third, Soul, Osiris, Slain and Risen. All, Isis, Apophis, Osiris, E-O. That is also what you will, that whole Virgo and Scorpio part, that whole thing is in the formula for the hexagram ritual. Very interesting. All spread arms as if on a cross and say the sign of Osiris slain. That's exactly what you would do too. You can take it over from there now.
All right. Chief bows his head to the left, raises his right arm, and lowers his left, keeping the elbow at right angles, thus forming the letter L. Also, the swastika, the sign of the morning of Isis. Second, with erect head, raises his arms to form a V, but really to form the triple tongue of flames of the spirit, or Shin, and says, the sign of Apophis and Typhon. Third, bows his head and crosses his arms on his breast to form the pentagram, the sign of Osiris risen. All give the sign of the cross and say, LVX. Then the sign of Osiris risen and say, Lux, the light of the cross. This formula, on which one may meditate for years without exhausting its wonderful harmonies, gives an excellent idea of the way in which Kabbalistic analysis is conducted. First, the letters have been written in Hebrew characters. Then the attributions of them to the zodiac and to the planets are substituted. That's the big takeaway from Greek Kabbalah versus Hebrew Kabbalah, is that now they're putting in the zodiac, now they're putting in the planets. This is kind of different from what the original Jewish sources of Kabbalah are doing. And it says, then the names of the Egyptian gods belonging to these are invoked. Again, this is a very Greek formula. The Christian idea of INRI is confirmed by these, while their initials form the sacred word of gnosis, that is, IAO. From the character of the deities and their functions are deduced their signs, and these are found to signal, as it were, the word lux, which itself is contained in the cross. Signal, as it were, the word lux, which is contained in the cross. A careful study of these ideas and the table of correspondences, which one of our great English brethren is making, and will enable him to discover a very great deal of matter for thought in these poems, which an untutored person would pass by. Again, it's deceptively simple. An untutored person would pass by them entirely.
I like this. Do you want me to?
No, I can keep going. To return to the general dogma of the Kabbalist, the figure of minimum mundum will show how they suppose one quality to proceed from the last, first in the pure God word Atziluth, and then in the angel word Bria, and so on down the demon worlds, which are, however, not thus organized. They are rather material that was shed off in the course of evolution, like the sloughs of a serpent, from which comes their name of shells or husks. Apart from silly questions as to whether the order of emanation is confirmed by paleontology, A question it is quite impertinent to discuss. There is no doubt that the Sephiroth are types of evolution as opposed to catastrophe and creation. So this is also a big, you know, kind of a jump from science itself. So he's saying that the Sephiroth are types of evolution, probably within living material, as opposed to catastrophe and creation being the sort of non living type evolutions. The great charge against this philosophy is founded on its alleged affinities with scholastic realism. But the charge is not very true. No doubt, but they did suppose vast storehouses of things of one kind, from which pure or mingled all other things did proceed. Since Gemel, a camel, refers to the moon, they did say that a camel and the moon were sympathetic and came that part of them from a common principle, and that of a camel being yellow brown, it partook of the earth nature to which that color is given. Thence they said that by taking all of these natures involved and by blending them in just proportions, one might have a camel. But this is no more than is said by the upholders of the atomic theory. They have their storehouse of carbon, oxygen, and such not in one place, but no more is Geburah in one place. And what is organic chemistry? But the production of useful compounds whose nature is deduced absolutely from theoretical considerations long before it was ever produced in the laboratory. So I'll leave it there. But I think what he's saying is that what they're talking about is the meanings behind things as opposed to their absolute evolutionary and material meanings, right? So these are different ways of changing or metamorphoses as opposed to absolute material equations. Is that what you're kind of thinking too?
Yeah. Do you want me to read up until the font changes and then we'll leave it there for next week?
Sure thing.
Another page and a half. One thing I did want to go over too, just real quick. I mean, not just, if people are interested. I should have actually probably read a little bit more and let you take over. I did want to go over the signs that he does talk about. Again, this is all. I mean, a lot of this is pretty much straight out of the hexagram ritual. But
can you do them for us?
Yeah, the sign of Osiris slain will be that. You'll make the sign of the cross. Then the sign of the morning of Isis. You go like that, and you're making swastika actually. Then the sign of Apophis and Typhon. You make kind of like the peace symbol or Y. And then sign of Osiris risen. And then you'll cross your arms. And then, what does it do after that? Then it says Lux, it'll go LVX. Then you'll say Lux, the light of the cross. Do that again. Yeah, but that's like pretty much the whole, that's all like the things that the signs that you'll make. The hexagram ritual was right there. And then after you do that, I think is then when you go and start making each direction. You have two triangles that you'll be drawing in different ways. Only one of them does it actually make like what we call the Star of David. That one I think is maybe to the side. I can't remember. I don't want to fuck up. But there's only one of those that are made. Some of them are just like the triangle, like kind of like this, and then reflected upside down, or like one like that, and then one like that on top of it. So it's not even always that actual hexagram. It's just taking those two triangles and fucking around with them too. So yeah, and then you'll draw those in each corner. And then depending on what you're doing, if you're invoking, you'll start from a different area. If you're invoking, you'll probably end up going like that. If you're banishing, you'll probably end up starting drawing like that. Same thing with the pentagram ritual. If you're going to invoke, you're normally drawing it up like that. If you're banishing, you're normally bringing down. And then even on the pentagram ritual, depending on what element you're dealing with, if you're getting specific, you have to start at different areas. Same thing with the pentagram ritual, depending on what element, what area you're dealing with, you're going to be drawing from a different way as well. Just throw that in there for people who don't know.
Right. And they don't really give you an explanation as to why to do all this stuff in his other books. But right here is telling you.
No, they tell you what to do. Yeah, but they really don't like give you a reason like why. Well, I mean, I guess they'll tell you like this is meaning that, but not what, exactly. They're not really telling you much else.
Right. Right. But this is telling
like,
you why.
There's so much stuff even in Crowley's ritual that there's stuff done that like people like today will even kind of like not argue over, but like still theorizing like why the fuck are you even doing it?
Right.
Like when he does the sign normally, and then I'll shut up and start reading. Normally, whenever you go like to whatever corner and you draw your thing and you vibrate the God name, when you're done, you bring your lip to your mouth, your finger to your lip, and you just go like that, and that's the sign of silence. In his star ruby, you start off with your finger against your lip. And then like you even move your leg and then swipe down and backwards and you start off going apapantos kaikadaminos. So it's like he even almost does it backwards. Like you're actually doing the sign of silence backwards. It's very weird. So all that shit I do believe means something. So
Right, but these are all physical formulations of these God names that they've taken from the Kabbalah. So it is all based on the Kabbalah. Even if you see them doing weird hand signs, what that is supposed to be drawing back from this cosmology, which encompasses everything, into a very specific use case. So all of these formulas are based off of this underlying cosmology.
Yes. All right, I'll continue. The difference, you will say, is that the Kabbalists maintain a mind of each kind behind each class of things of one kind. But so did Berkeley, and his argument in that respect is, as the great Huxley showed, irrefragable. For by the universe, I mean the sensible. Any other is not to be known, and the sensible is dependent upon mind. Nay, though the sensible is said to be an argument of a universe insensible, the latter became sensible to mind as soon as the argument is accepted and disappears with its rejection. Nor is the Kabbalah dependent upon its realism and its application to the works magical, but I am defending a philosophy which I was asked to describe, and this is not lawful. A great deal may be learned from the translation of the Zohar by S. Liddell McGregor Mathers and his introduction thereto. Though for those who have Latin and some acquaintance with Hebrew, it is better to study the Qabala denudata or of Nor von Rosenroth, in despite of the heavy price. For the translator has distorted the text and its comment to suit his belief in a supreme personal God, and in that degraded form of the doctrine of feminism, which is so popular with the emasculate.
Oh, shots fired.
The Sephiroth are grouped in various ways. There's a superior triad or trinity, a hexad and Malkuth, the crown, the father, and the mother, the son or king, and the bride. Also, a division into 7 places, 7 planes, 3 pillars or columns, and the like. The flashing sword follows the course of the numbers, and the serpent Nekoshten, I don't know how to probably fucking that up, or of wisdom crawls up the paths which join them upon the tree of life, namely the letters. It is important to explain the position of Doth or knowledge upon the tree. It is called the child of Chokmah and Binah, but it hath no place. But it is rarely the apex of a pyramid of which the 3 first numbers form the base. Now the tree, or minutum mundum, is, I've never actually heard that before, except I think in here.
I like that.
Yeah. Is a figure in a plane of, it's interesting I keep it with the MM too, but different, because the Masons have that. Is a figure in a plane of a solid universe. Da'ath being above the plane is therefore a figure of a force in 4 dimensions, and thus it is the object of the magnum opus. The 3 paths which connect it with the first trinity are the 3 lost letters or fathers of the Hebrew alphabet. Indoth is said to be the head of the great serpent uh, Nachesh or Leviathan, called evil to conceal its holiness. It is identical with the Kundalini of the Hindu philosophy and the Kwanseon of the Mongolian peoples. It means the magical force in man, which is the sexual force applied to the brain, heart, and other organs, and redeemeth him. The gradual disclosure of these magical secrets to the poet may be traced in these volumes, which it has been my privilege to be asked to explain. It has been impossible to do more than place in the hands of any intellect. It has been impossible to do more than place in the hands of any intelligent person the keys which will permit him to unlock the many beautiful chambers of holiness in these places and gardens of beauty and pleasure.
All right. And let's remember, this is page 35.
Yeah, I'm going to write that down this time.
35.
Every week, no lie, I'm always like, yo, Headless, do you remember where we left? Because either I'll leave the page open and then like the thing will like restart itself because it updated, or like I'll start going through it and forget to go back. It's like maybe I should write it down like a normal person would.
Right. So essentially what he's finishing off there is what he sort of dropped like a fart in church earlier, which is that the snake, the serpent, is also Jesus, according to the Kabbalists, the Jewish Kabbalists. So one of the reasons why a lot of people have come across the idea that the Jews hate Jesus is partially this reason. They're trying to conceal the holiness of the serpent. They keep talking about how evil the serpent is, evil, evil, evil. But in essence, what they're trying to do is conceal the holiness of the serpent. And that's what he's sort of dropping there is like, according to the Gematria, the reason why they don't like the serpent is because they don't want other people to have it. They don't want other people to know about it. And like he was saying right here, look at the bronze serpent and be healed. That's something in the Old Testament where Moses lifts up the bronze serpent and everybody bows to it and they get healed of their sicknesses. Well, what does Jesus say in the New Testament? Just as the serpent was raised up in the wilderness, so too will the Son of Man be raised up. So there is a very distinct contextual analysis that actually puts these two concepts together within the Bible itself. So a lot of this stuff is found in the Qabbalah, and you're not going to know what they're talking about, or why they have certain views that you don't really understand, because all of the rabbis have to be trained in the Qabbalah by age 40. So this is why you have these different sects of Judaism that are very heavy into this stuff, is they're looking into the text, they're finding out the numbers, and they're trying to use that to its maximum potential. But yeah, this is a good episode. We went a little over, but yeah, this is what I'm talking about, guys. If you don't know the Qabbalah, you don't know what these people are talking about. So if you want to know about the occultism behind it, all you got to do is pick up this or the Zohar or one of these other books and really start to dig into it. You're not going to have to go far before you start. Right. You're not going to go far before you find this stuff. And it's right there in front of you. And some of it's not going to be easily understood, but others, it's going to be very, very readily understood. And that's what we're trying to get to, is having people have a basic understanding of this stuff is so vital, so that you don't sound like a complete moron.
Yeah. I would even suggest, if people are really looking into it, you can easily find PDFs for free. I'm just keeping it real. Well, the authors are going to be happy about it, but Dion Fortune and Gareth Knight, Gareth Knight has the Paths besides the Sephiroth gigantic book. I always highly suggest that, but you could easily find PDFs on those. And I do think that those are definitely thorough books on the Qabbalah to get you started. Yeah. And you know what? You'll go through there and you won't find one ritual. Do you ever realize that too? I mean,
right.
I mean, technically, I know 777 is like kind of giving you the tools, but even when you get into the Qabbalah, like if you're like actually like studying it, or even like hermetically, there's not like a ritual in there. It's just all like ideas and archetypes of existence.
the philosophy.
That's why when people are like going on about like, oh, that must be like that horrible, like, you know, satanic ritual. And I'm just like, but like, where's the ritual that comes with Qabalah? You know what I'm saying? It's like you use rituals and somehow work Qabalah into it. That's what you're doing. That's why I never understood when I hear people say that.
Right.
Because it's like, you actually got it backwards to an extent.
Right. So this is the commonly agreed upon metaphysics of the occultists. What they do with that's their business. But you have to at least understand the commonly agreed upon cosmology of the occultists. That's what we're going over. So they're not going to put any. Why would they even do that? I mean, think about it real quick. Why would you put all the demonic stuff in the source material for all the things that you do afterwards? You would want to keep that in your own sort of separate thing so that you're not tainting the well that other people are going to. Other people have made satanic Qabbalahs, absolutely. But are they the same thing as the source material? No, it's not.
Exactly. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. And yes, I got it's almost a Charlie Brown tree behind me if it was any worse.
Right.
I plug that motherfucker in. It'll look a little bit better. Plus, I got to pull it apart. Yeah, somebody's making comments about my Christmas tree.
They all are. They love your Christmas tree.
Oh man, I actually like dread putting it up. I'm like for who? Like my father sent it to me, so now it's just like fuck. I got to put it up. And like I even put on the show. He does actually watch the podcast. Believe it or not.
It's great for the audience. We can put gifts of content under the tree for next year. So
yeah,
I
was like, all right,
absolutely. Thank you guys for coming by, and we will do more Qabalah next time. So
yes,
check us out. Remember to put a big bell by our channels, all of them. And if you're not following me on Rumble yet, get over there and give me a follow. So
yeah, Rumble and YouTube
channels up.
His YouTube channel. After this week, it's not going on the Occult Rejects, so you got to go over to Headlesses if you want to keep watching this.
You got it. Well, thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you again next time.